proxy forms will also be available for those that need to pick up for others. For more information, call Circle Friends at 724-846-1959.
Turn off your TV, turn on your mind, and turn up that radio. It's AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA.
And we're back here on this Thursday morning. Jeez. Not sure why I would want to make the week any longer than it already is, but anyways, it is a Thursday morning, September 15th, and you're listening to AM Beaver County, currently at 58 degrees in Beaver County. I'm now joined in studio by Bryan Fabyanic, and he wears many hats, but we're going to talk about just one of them today. And so, Fab, good morning to you, and glad for you to make your way in the studio today.
Hey, Durs, thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me in, and I'm really excited to talk to you about Grove Cemetery and our upcoming wine and cheese event.
Yes, it is coming up, I believe, this weekend, correct?
Yes, on Saturday at 7 p.m. down at the Merrick Art Gallery in New Brighton. Beautiful venue, by the way.
Oh, yes, it's a very beautiful venue, very, very beautiful. And for those who aren't aware of what Grove Cemetery does and sort of all of the things that it's been part of throughout Beaver County history, just give a little background about what Grove Cemetery is all about.
Sure. Grove Cemetery is a nonprofit, all-volunteer cemetery that was founded in the late 1850s. What happened was the Merrick family needed to expand their business, so they actually moved the old Quaker burial ground and Presbyterian burial ground to a tract of land that they bought in New Brighton, which it encompasses a little bit of Pulaski, a little bit of Dougherty, and some New Brighton. So they actually moved two cemeteries to make Grove Cemetery back in the 1850s. So it's quite a historic cemetery. We have two Revolutionary War soldiers buried there. One joined the war effort when he was 8 years old. If you ever get a chance, go on our website and read about him. It's a fascinating story about the Coburn kid. But we are a nonprofit cemetery, which means we get our money from burials and selling plots. Being an old cemetery, we really don't sell a lot of plots now, and we do have a lot of room, so there's a shameless plug if anybody wants to do some pre-planning. But we also make the bulk of our money on burials, and being a cemetery as old as we are, we just don't have a lot of burials, so we have to turn to other sources of revenue.
And that leads us to this event, which is a fundraising event for Grove Cemetery. And you talk about this wine and cheese event. It's coming up this weekend. What kind of wines and cheeses are we talking about? Because I know that a lot of people can be a little snobbish about that, but they may just also have a genuine curiosity for that.
Well, and I'm probably the wrong guy to talk about wine. I'm more a beer guy, but
I'm right there with you.
We have a great group of people that volunteer at Grove, and Kathy Bingle is the one that sets all this up, and she goes through Dawn's Deli in Beaver, and we just kind of turn everything over to them, and the pairings they do with the wines are fantastic. It's not just wines. It's a little bit of the meats, a little bit of the cheeses. They throw some veggies in there, and everything mixes together, and for a guy that really – I'm more a beer wing guy than a wine and cheese person. It's really a nice event. And then Richie and Mandy Albanese and Rob Tracy also go out and select the wines. And Rich Albanese is very good at pairing those up, and he gets a lot of imported Italian wines. So it's a really great event. It's a little bit too highbrow for me, actually.
But at the same time, it does create, for obviously it's for a good cause, as we've been talking about. And not just that, but for those who may not, understand, because I'm with you, it's sort of a beer wine type of guy, or beer wing type of guy, I should say. But I've tried wine, and, it is interesting how they are willing to, sort of, make that mental note, like, okay, this one goes with this one goes with this one. And of course, I'm sure there's probably some people out there that think, well, maybe for my taste buds, this one goes with this one instead of this one that they recommend. So that kind of creates this little element of mystery and intrigue when it comes to those tastings as well.
Sure, and people that know a lot more about the wine and cheeses are always impressed with the event. And I can't say enough about the people that helped to set it up, because my role at Grove Cemetery is pretty much to make sure the grass gets cut. So this is way above me, but it is just a great evening. And we get a lot of people from around the county and a lot of good, solid New Brighton people that come in for the event. So it's a nice event, too, that once a year, a lot of people that don't get to see each other actually get together and get to have, a little bit of wine, cheese, and hang out.
Plus, again, most of the wines, and I know you talk about the imported wines, but a lot of the cheeses are local, and a lot of the wines may be local as well. And of course, it goes to a local group. And on top of that, it's this, it's a gathering like you mentioned, and especially considering what we've gone through the last couple of years when it comes to gathering, anytime you do that, it can't really be taken as much for granted as it once was.
No, and that's the really nice thing. We did have to take a 1-year hiatus from it, and there was a lot of disappointed people. But now that we've been able to get back to it, it seems like we sell the tickets because we're limited for space because the Merrick Art Gallery is a beautiful area, but we try to limit it. You want to kind of make it special. So there are people that will start bugging us for tickets in midsummer. I shouldn't say bugging, asking us for tickets in midsummer. And we have very little problem with a group of regulars that we sell about 2/3 of our tickets to. So it's really nice to be able to do that. The proceeds go to just maintaining the cemetery. It takes a lot more than people think. I've seen on social media people bashing some local cemeteries, but I don't think they realize that the only money you get in a nonprofit cemetery are what you sell and the burials. And if those don't come in, then you have no money. And, when Kathy Bingle came up with this idea, it was so that we could take care of the cemetery on a yearly basis and not have to worry about that sum of money coming in from other revenues.
We're talking with Bryan Fabyanic. It's 8:18 on AM Beaver County. Now, you mentioned you've taken a year hiatus from this event. How long has this event been going on for?
I believe this is our 4th or 5th. I'm old and I'm terrible remembering things. It's definitely our 4th. Naturally, we started right around right pre-COVID, and then we obviously couldn't do it during those times. We were able to do it on a limited basis last year. We kind of broke out and did it, and I would say this is our 4th one in 5 years.
4th in 5 years. Okay, that's reasonable, and I know that many other events that have sort of, like you say, started in that same time period have basically had to say the same thing. It's like we've been doing this for so long, but we only done it this amount of times. We have to take one away because of what happened with COVID. Now, it is a wine and cheese event, but I do have to ask this just to clarify, because I know a lot of times people hear wine and cheese and think, it's a very hoity-toity affair. What is the dress code for this, and what should people be aware of?
The dress code is very casual. We really don't have a dress code. A lot of people wear, jeans and cowboy boots, and that's fine. Some people wear jackets, shirts, and ties. I'm a khakis and golf shirt kind of person. I kind of take the middle of the road. So, yeah, it's in a great venue, the Merrick Art Gallery, which if you ever get a chance, I think that's one of the most underrated places in Beaver County. It is wine and cheese, but we haven't lost our New Brighton roots, where it's kind of still a down-home New Brighton event.
Yes, and that's good to know because it shows that even though for all the sort of stereotypes that go into wine tasting, that's not the case here, and that people can just gather and be themselves for the most part. Because again, this is for a cemetery, and even though burials themselves can be a little bit more of a well-dressed event, it is for putting bodies in the ground. So it's not necessarily we need to, I'm trying to put it in the right word.
Right.
I think I'm trying to say.
I sure do.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice about it. Come as you are. And if you don't like wine, we do have other options. And I'm not going to lie to you. If you check my glass at any given time, you might find beer in it, not wine. So if you're looking for a beer, I might be able to sneak you one out of the back fridge.
You heard it here first. Now, of course, we talk about the event coming up this weekend, and we'll have details up at beavercountyradio.com later on this morning. But as far as the things you talk about, like helping out the cemetery and helping out with, fundraising and assistance, what other events are coming up, and what other things is Grove Cemetery sort of looking for in that department?
Yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. If you're willing to cut grass or especially run a weed whacker, we could always use able bodies. Some of our other events, we do a donation letter right around Memorial Day. And, we raise some money from that, but it's, for us, it's hard to put out a letter and every year to have people donate. But we are nonprofit, and that's really what makes it tough. We have tried to go through local government agencies to see about getting grants, and they're just not out there. And it's not any politician's fault. It's not Republican. It's not Democrat. It's just the way it is. And it's unfortunate because, I worry about what happens to these cemeteries after a group of volunteers can no longer keep it going. And what we found out, the municipalities then have to take it over. And nothing against any of the municipalities. They just don't have the time or manpower. So it's nice when you can keep a good group of board members and volunteers together to keep the cemetery going. It is, and in the upcoming months here, it is absolutely a beautiful place to take a stroll through. The leaves are changing. We have, I think, 40 or 50 different types of trees planted there. We have deer running through there. It's just a really nice place in the fall. So I suggest anybody who wants to take a walk, stop on over.
I agree with that. And not only that, you mentioned the element of the municipality taking over as opposed to taking care of it yourselves.
Right.
And the one thing that comes with that doesn't necessarily get looked at nearly enough is that feeling of assurance, that peace of mind that, the people that are being taken care of and you know that it will be taken care of. And if somebody else can't do it, then okay, next person up. And, like you said, it may not be a clean cut situation where everything's done always and it's a perfect time where all the grass is always cut and everything, because like you say, things happen when it comes to volunteers and those change over the years. But when it comes to the level of dedication from the core group, that may not be something you get with a municipality, and that's not the municipality's fault, like you said.
Definitely,
it's just a matter of manpower and dedication that is there with one and may not be there with the other.
Sure. And like you said, it's nobody's fault. It's just the way it happens. And actually what happened was when I was teaching at New Brighton 12, 14 years ago, a little bit longer than that actually, I noticed that our students didn't really have a lot of knowledge about what a great history there is in this county, specifically in New Brighton, founded by Quakers, part of the Underground Railroad. Huge amount of people that fought and died in the Civil War. So I started having my kids do a scavenger hunt through New Brighton, and part of it was going through Grove Cemetery. And it was kind of in disrepair at the time. Then the new board took over. Rob Tracy's dad led that charge. Peter Merrick was very instrumental. His family's been connected to it from the start. And it's kind of neat to still have a Merrick on board with us.
Yeah.
So I started volunteering there, and then when the new board took over, I joined them in their efforts. A lot of people have gotten off the board. We found some new people, but we have a nice core of people right now. But a lot of us are in our mid to late 50s, and, doing the physical work gets a little bit tougher. So, in a few years, we're going to have to find some younger people to come in and help us out. And I hope that they have a great appreciation for the rich history of Grove Cemetery.
Yes, because not only is the history of the cemetery itself and the history of New Brighton sort of encapsulated into what that is, but it's a cemetery, so many other people's individual histories are dedicated to that area. So the element of that is very much in tow. So again, all of this coming back to the main event coming up this weekend, the wine and cheese taste taking place at Merrick Argyle, and you said it's a 3 p.m.?
No, it's 7 p.m.
7
to 9 p.m. Nice way, go out, get some dinner, come hang out. We still have tickets available. If you want to go on our website, I'm going to give another shameless plug here, grovecemetery.org. Kathy Bingle can be reached. So there are still a few tickets available. Every year, there's some people that drop out. We get new people. So it's nice to be full. So we'd like to see everybody out there. It's a great event, and the venue's awesome, and something near and dear to my heart, the history of New Brighton through Grove Cemetery.
It is the wine and cheese tasting taking place this Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Merrick Art Gallery in New Brighton for Grove Cemetery. And Brian, thank you so much for coming on this morning and talking about that with us, because like you said, it's a rich history. It's a great event. And when you put the two together, you can't miss.
All right, I appreciate it. Anytime that we can talk about local history or anything, I'm in. Some of you might have just heard my alarm go off. I need to go over and start letting kids into Central Elementary at this time. So I appreciate you guys having me. Shout out to you, Frank Sparks, Mr. Peterson, for all you guys do for the county. It's really come a long way, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming on and talk about it. Thank you. News coming up next here on this Thursday morning, September 15th, here in Beaver County. And it is currently 58 degrees with mostly sunny skies.
Come out and help the heathens help families in need.